Hey guys, Dr. Dex here. Today we're doing a part 2 to our video on job site etiquette. So you seem to really like the first one, so we're gonna go ahead and do a second one. If you like this video or it reminds you something funny, don't forget to click that subscribe button. We've talked about some of the things that we don't do on the job site. I'm big on this one, and I think everybody's done it a little bit in the past, but don't practice on your clients. Your clients are paying you for a reason. I don't believe in learning and getting paid from the client to figure something out, especially if you're on a time and material project. Don't learn how to do sheetrock or drywall or whatever it is you're doing, laying decking, framing a deck, pouring concrete. Don't learn how to do that on a job site where you're the general contractor. You know, either hire a subcontractor and learn from them, or go work with somebody else that knows how to do that and become proficient at it before you start experimenting on people's homes. I'm a big proponent of this. Don't do it. It's not cool, man. All right, in the state that I live in, we have to do a weekly safety meeting. These don't have to be like huge or long or anything in particular, but we just want to go over any practices that we're doing for the week. Lately, we've been on a lot of ladders, have 3 points of contact. If you got a cut man on the chop saw, keep your fingers away from that central zone of the saw. It can be just general reminders. Tie your clothing back, tie your hair back if you have long hair, things like that. Just general safety. Just keep an eye out. Hey, it's really slippery over here in this. And I've had this from personal experience. A coworker said, hey man, be careful over here. It's really slippery. We were laying some plywood down a steep slope. And I was carrying the last sheet of plywood and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. And what I do, I hit that slippery spot. I start sliding, and the weight of the plywood was so heavy and I was coming down at the wrong angle, and I snapped my quadricep completely off my kneecap. Had to go to the emergency room and have major surgery. It took 14 hours before they could operate. It was a nightmare. That's an extreme example, but weekly safety meetings are great just to keep morale up, and it also gives your employees a chance to bring up any topics. If somebody has a beef with somebody else and we can diffuse that before it becomes an issue, that's a great time. And also, like on Fridays, so we have our safety meeting on Friday mornings, and then every other week or every third to fourth week, I'm gonna buy the guys lunch just as a morale booster, keep everybody on the right page. You know, hey, thanks guys, really appreciate your hard work here, just to keep that job site morale up. But safety meeting is something by law that we have to have, but it's also, I think, a good time for you just to get into other people's heads. It doesn't have to be a half an hour long. Sometimes it can go that long, and I'm willing to invest the time because I want to be able to talk to my people, my employees, and have a nice discussion about what we're doing and how we're going to keep the job site safe. I just spoke about this, but this can go a long way. It's more about morale, and that's buying lunch once in a while for your team. This is more of a boss or a managerial role, but you know, a couple pizzas can go a long way just to make somebody happy. You know, order a little bit extra and then say, hey man, who wants to take this home? And like give somebody a pizza. They can munch on that on their way home, or they can have it for their weekend activities or whatever. And it's just a cool way to say thank you. Another thing about job site etiquette, and I tell my guys this all the time, there is no wrong question for me, no stupid questions, only the ones you don't ask. I would much rather you ask twice and cut once. The materials that we use are very expensive, and if we have a communication breakdown and you miscut 20 boards at the wrong length, that just cost me a couple $1,000s. There's no dumb questions. Ask as many as you need. I am a plethora of information for you to make sure that those questions are answered in the proper way so that we can continue constructing the way we need to. One thing that I like to do is have a chain of command in my job site. Usually all questions from the clients are funneled through me and then directed to the other people on the job site. So I like to keep the communication open with all client to employees, but most of the time I'm asking for most of that direction to come through me. So I'm not really putting anybody else in charge on the job site. If you got guys there that are working that are fully committed and know exactly what they're talking about to the client, great. But most client relations work from me and then disperse, and then I manage that, and then I disperse that through the rest of the team. And then that way there's no loss in translation. I'm totally on board with it, and I know exactly what needs to be done and what was said and what is expected from the client as well. So those are 5 more suggestions, guys, for job site etiquette. I hope that helps some of you out there. You know, maybe you're new to the industry and you're just getting things going. Just a few things I've learned over the last 35 years of being in business that may help you build yourself a better business as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content. Leave me a note below and let me know what you thought of this video. Do we want a part 3? I don't know. Do we need to? Let me know below and leave me a comment. And thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate you. Thanks for watching our channel. Have a great day.